Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. I'm continuing my series about debating, and now I'll give you an example of how I would argue the other side. Supposing I was opposing the motion and I wanted school uniform to be retained, this is what I would say. So you just have to imagine the president of the society on the chair had indicated it was my turn to speak. I'll therefore rise to my feet and begin like this. Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak and to address this vital and timeless motion. The opposition's case is that school uniform should not be abolished and it must be retained. And these are our principal reasons. First of all, it's good for our identity in every sense. Second of all, it's economic. Third of all, it helps us stay together on school trips. And lastly, because it improves academic performance. So I shall go over those again, one by one, in greater detail. So it's good for our corporate identity. Here we are as a school community, something collective, and it says who we are. Boldly emblazoned on the blazer is the school's coat of arms with our motto. And so there's that sense of equality and sense of belonging that people find so very reassuring. And we take a pride in our uniform, and it does prepare us for adult life. Most of us will go into office jobs, we'll have to wear a suit, and we get used to wearing a suit. Some people who leave school at 18 have never having worn one, feel terribly gauche wearing one. Well, we are not going to have that problem because we've had this immense advantage of wearing a good school uniform. It's appropriate, it's smart, it's formal, and that should be because learning is a serious business. Indeed, a girl's school uniform is also suitably modest. So that's a positive thing too. We don't waste time in the morning wondering what we're going to have to wear. Another reason is it's not too expensive without actually being cheap and tacky, and it prevents people who don't have such affluent parents from being shamed. In schools where there is no school uniform, it's like a fashion parade, and those who cannot afford expensive clothes, they get humiliated by their peers, saying, oh, you wore that last year, you can't afford the really expensive thing. And there's like a price war in trying to purchase more expensive things. There's status anxiety. And we know in adolescence, people's self-esteem often goes sky high or rock bottom. We don't have that problem here because we have a very sensible school uniform, and the school and the clothing companies deliberately keep the cost down so we can spend money on more enjoyable and worthwhile things. Likewise, when we go out of school in a trip, we stay together, we can instantly be recognised, and that's very useful so then people don't get lost or separated. And we have to behave because we know if we misbehave, we can be identified and traced back to the school. There's another thing called clothed cognizance, and there's ample research to prove this is true, that if people dress apart, they feel that way and they perform more effectively. It puts them in the right frame of mind for exams and things like that. No wonder people in offices dress in a certain way. Or there are even actors who are acting on the radio, but they would still wear the costume because they say, I feel the part. And they know that they act better because they're dressed that way. It's just how you feel at the time. As I say, it puts your mind in the right direction, and that's why they do better. So those are the reasons why school uniform must be retained. And the world is going our way. It's absolute drivel to say that it's totalitarian and frankly insulting when the propositions say anything of that kind. Many free societies have school uniforms. We experimented with not having school uniforms about 20 years ago, we brought them back, and it's better in all sorts of regards. So does the other side of the house really want to see people bullied because they can't afford expensive clothes? Surely not. And these are the reasons why I urge the House to reject this scurrilous motion.